This is a 1660 Super, and we're going to be testing it in CS2. Our CPU for today is the i5-12600K with 32 gigs of RAM, running at 6,000 megahertz. All right, so we're trying a little bit more of a CPU-based game here with CS2, and right now we are on the very high preset settings at 1080p. So like very high preset settings. We're on a map. I think it's called Vertigo, I believe it is. And bot Tony just killed me, but that's okay. But we're getting like 126 frames while they're 1% lows at 55. Which, you know, I would like for the 1% lows to be a little higher in a game like this, maybe. They don't really bother me that much as long as they're not dropping to like single digits constantly like Fortnite does sometimes with AMD GPUs, but, you know, I digress. And we're going to just, you know, see what happens here as we go around. 130 looks like, but we are like on the inside. Oh, I'd have thought for sure that I killed him the first time, but I didn't. I'm playing bots, by the way, so like I'm just trying to test the FPS here. And from what I can tell is you're not going to see a huge difference in playing bots and playing the real game. I mean, it's the same maps. It's all going to come down to, you know, your PC. But very high settings, 130 FPS with a 1660 Super. I think that's pretty cool. Now, obviously, with it being a CPU game like this, your CPU is going to matter some too. Like if you've got a trash can CPU, you're probably not going to get these FPS numbers. But if you have a decent CPU, you're going to get pretty close to this because, I mean, there's only so much you can do with a 1660 Super these days. So as long as you are close to this, you should be perfectly fine. But, all right, what I want to do, though, is to try, let's change the settings a little bit. So we're on very high, which is like their max settings. Let's go to high, and let's see how that changes our FPS. And old bot Pines decided they were going to do a little backstabbing right there. Well, that's okay. And I'm sorry if I'm a little nasally. I'm a school teacher, and we started back to school a couple weeks ago. So, you know, all the kids bring their germs back in because they don't know how to, you know, just happens when school starts back. But on just regular high settings, not very high settings, we're looking at 160-ish FPS, 170 FPS. Sometimes it's hitting up close to 200. And our 1% lows are in the 70s, which, you know, it could vary depending on what map you are. There's one map on CS2 that's got a bunch of water on it, so like your FPS might be a little different on that map and versus this map. But that is something, you know, that I mean, I guess we could test every map, but I mean, I'm not gonna do that. Glad these bots are bad because I can talk while I play and not be stressed. So anyway, but if you're playing a game like CS2, and especially if you're on a budget system and you want the most FPS that you can possibly get, well, I mean, we gotta try low settings. So let's go try some low settings. Now, I'll say, low settings. You are gonna need a good CPU to get these higher frame rates, especially at low settings. High settings, you know, you might can get away with, you know, a little bit of a trash can CPU, but you're not gonna be able to. I say it can't be a full-on trash can CPU, dude. Are they just all like swarming me? But we're getting right at 240 frames on low settings with a 1660 Super, baby. That's pretty cool. I'm gonna stab this guy in the back. Oh man, I missed. And so I think that I mean, over 240 FPS, if you have the right CPU with 1660 Super, esports games, I mean, I think you would be. Oh my gosh, I'm so bad. Anyway, I think you would be happy with that. So if you're not and you want to see a different GPU or maybe there's this GPU in a different game, then you know where to click.